This is in response to Billy's Talking Points memo from Friday, January 9th, 2015, Terrorism Wins Again. I'd like to point out that terrorism never wins. It will always, I shouldn't say always be defeated, but we will always work to try to minimize the risk of terrorism. We're not in a complete police state, but we have a lot of eyes and ears running around taking a look at things. Now, Billy, I understand this is what you want to do, is you want to create fear that terrorism, wins again. That these three or four people, they might find some more as the week goes on. Of course, you brought everyone up to date, which took half of your show, and and basically talking about killing in the name of Islam. Again, it just appears to me as if you really have some type of grudge against Islam. Remember, the Crusades, that was a war to defeat another religion, and also to get territory for economics. So, but let's get back to the thing. Terrorism wins again? No. Terrorism will always, we will always work diligently, constantly to try and minimize the threat of terrorism in the United States and terrorism by other countries overseas. Can it be completely defeated, completely eradicated? It never has. I'd like to think that it would. Chances are it really won't. But again, you always want to bring up, how do I want to put it, something that can never be proved. Terrorism wins again. Of course, the terrorists all over the place. Look at them. There's millions of them. And there really aren't. But I do want to bring up a little bit of a side point here. Of course, you had your whole thing on those gentlemen getting shot. I shouldn't refer to them as gentlemen. Those murderers being shot and killed, and which was necessary. But at the same time, and you're talking about Muslims, you're talking about terrorists, I do believe I read earlier this week, of course, I didn't see it on Fox News, was that there was a small terrorism cell that was arrested in Georgia. I believe it was Georgia. They were on a far right-wing website, a militiaman type of website. They had talked about getting some type of arms to do harm to police, people in authority, the U.S. government, blah, blah, blah. Apparently they traveled some distance to go meet someone undercover in terms of getting the weapons. So, this is a homegrown terrorist. This is a white supremacist terrorist, I believe. And, the country did its due diligence. It monitored these websites, got someone involved, said we can supply the weapons, brought them into another state. I guess they confirmed everything. They arrested them. Okay, that's the way it should be. Can it happen every single time? No, it can't. But we are working very diligently to do it. So did terrorism win that time? No, it didn't. So, and then you show a couple clips. You basically say they're kowtowing to the religion. There are 1.2 billion Muslims, or 1.6. I don't remember what you said. I'll take your word for it that that's true. As they've done in studies in France, that many of the people in France actually consider themselves French. They don't consider themselves from their other country. They want to live in peace. They're not political. They're not necessarily even religious. This is most of the Muslims who live in France. So you show these clips of a couple people who are on MSNBC or CNN, basically saying they're kowtowing to them, that they're being too apologetic for the religion. The religion is what's caused it, but again, it's just a few people. And again, I do believe that it was a very great American, and in my humble opinion, a very great American, Theodore Roosevelt, who said, well, walk softly and carry a big stick. He was talking about something else. And I think that's what the United States is doing. I think that's what France is doing. I think that's what Germany is doing. They're speaking in terms of a public relations thing, is that we want to be inclusive. If you're living in the United States, you're living in Dearborn, Michigan, which happens to have a lot, then that's good. But stop. But what I want to, I got sidetracked there, but what I want to do is just hone in is that, don't criticize people just because they're saying, we want to be inclusive. We respect other religions. We want people to practice their religion. We don't want to become, police state or anything like that. Don't criticize them for that. Okay. Then you mention Bill Christoph, who writes for the New York Times. You're calling him apologetic, saying he won't go on your show. Bill, no one wants to go on your show. You're a big fat bully. You already have your point of view. You already have your premise. You already know exactly what you want to say, and you won't accept anything that anyone says. And you interrupt them, and you stop them, and you say all this stupid stuff, and they never get a word in edgewise, and then you trash them after they've been on your show. So why should anyone go on your show? Why would I want to go on your show? I'd do it. Yeah, I'd do it live. That'd be the way I'd do it.